Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, fantastic. First and foremost, how's everyone's MAGFest thus far? I'm glad that you all are feeling that. I am on ibuprofen. That's because not because my head hurts. It's because, I was also having a good MAGFest. It's the only way to do it. So we're going to get started. I'm super excited to have space and community, be in community with this man right here next to me. But before I get into Brother Ace right here, my name is Javon Gord. I am a archmage or department head for the Music and Gaming Education Symposium, or MAGES, and also recently a newly elected member of the board of MAGFest. So board of directors, I just got on. Thank you. So as one colleague asked me a while ago, do you feel more powerful? No, I don't. No. There are 25,000 of you all here. I'm stressed. But it's all a blessing. It just shows that there are a lot of gamey, geeky people all out here, and you all find community, refuge, space here, and that is a blessing. So thank you all. Thank you all for literally being here. MAGFest is not without everyone else in this room. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to listen to this man next to me. So a quick intro on how we met. South by Southwest 2023 in Austin, Texas. It was my first time in Texas. I was very excited. And once I gave my talk, this man who's like full of energy and excitement was just like, yeah, man, like, I love your talk. And I was like, okay, brother, okay, thank you. I feel the love. And we just started chatting, and then he told me about like what he's been working on. Right. And I was like, you can do that? Like, you can do that? And ever since then, it's been just amazing to see from afar how successful Ace has been in his trajectory, in his career. I'm so gracious to be in community with him. I'm so happy for all of his success. This is also Ace and I's like only second time meeting each other. Crazy. But it feels like I've known him for years, really years now. And this is also Ace's first MAGFest as well. So let's. A year ago, I was thinking about who I wanted to invite out to be in community with MAGFest folks, and I was just like, "Yo, Ace, there's this thing called MAGFest. Will you come? Like, can you please come?"
I was like, "There's a music and gaming fest." What?
And I was like, "Yes, please come. And he was just like, immediately he was like, "All right, I'm there, Javon. Whatever you want me to do, I'm right there with you." And I'm just like, "Oh, thank you," but also stressed because that means I have to make sure that all of this works and comes together. But now that you're here, right? And Ace is coming all the way from California. So California is going through a very rough time, as we all know. So I also appreciate you still finding the time, the space to come here and share your passion and your game with the rest of us, okay? So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to allow Brother Ace to introduce himself and take us on this wild journey. So let's give it a round for the Ace Patterson.
I appreciate y'all. All right, so I'm a hip hop artist, and typically when it's a sparse room like this, I ask for us to be family and come closer. So if you way in the back, please come a little closer, fill up the little space that we got in between, so we could save my voice that's already so low.
Yes, please move up, Khalid. Thank you, Khalid.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, yo. Thank y'all for being here. This is super dope. Like Javon mentioned, this is my first time at MAGFest. And just being here and not really knowing what to expect, it was just like, yo, let's just show up and find our people. You know what I mean? And our people is really just, if anybody like hip hop, anybody like card games, gaming, anybody just like the culture, like, just come vibe with us and it'll be a good time. So I appreciate y'all showing up. I'm Ace Patterson, also known as Call Me Ace. It's 3 words. It's like a Tribe Called Quest, you know. I'm a hip hop artist. I've done some fun stuff, Billboard chart, music and video games, been in commercials, fun, you know, blah. All while having a full-time corporate job. So I was also, prior to doing this, I was working at Google, I was working at Facebook, I was working at Deloitte, being a consultant. And simultaneously, I'm a big nerd, yo. You know what I mean? Don't let the chains fool you. So I played Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Hearthstone, Marvel Versus, Shadow Era, mad other obscure. Yu Yu Hakusho had a trading card game once. You know what I mean? Like all of them. You know what I mean? Some live ones, some dead ones. Right now, I'm in the Lorcana, One Piece, all that. Right? And one day, I was just like, yo. Why don't people where I'm from want to play these games with me? You know what I mean? Like growing up, it was like, I bet, you know, you could play Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, NBA 2K, Madden, etc. But when I was like, yo, you want to pull up to, you know, there was like Toys R Us at the time, you want to go play Dragon Ball Z, TCGs, like, nah, I want to watch the anime, but I don't want to play the card game, right? And, you know, so I just started thinking, I was like, yo, what if instead of dragons and magicians, you just had hip hop artists with superpowers, like, and that was a trading card game. And this was around 2016. This is actually when I was I just graduated from business school. I'm a Deloitte consultant now, but I'm also starting my music career. And this idea comes up, and I just think it's a real small idea. I'm not really thinking nothing of it, so I just brush it aside. Then a year later, comes up again. I'm like, oh, I tell my brothers, they're like, oh, that sounds cool, and we laugh about it, and then I just tucked it away. 2018, I'm at Facebook, hitting the Billboard chart, music is going, and I'm like, babe, my wife's a lawyer. I'm like, I got this idea, and she's like, that is not your job. This is not what you do. You are going to keep your job that's actually paying you money, and you're gonna do this music thing that I almost don't even agree with, and that's what you're gonna do. Right? But I'm building this on the side. I'm using pieces of paper. I'm toying with this idea. I'm going to local game stores, going to random people and just telling them this, right? Pandemic happens. I ain't doing no shows. No one's doing shows. I'm doing virtual shows. I'm like, this can't be life. I had a lot of time on my hands, and so I'm really starting to go deep into this. Like one of the things that like kept me grounded. Let's be honest. Pandemic was wild. I met an investor. He was like, yo, do you have any ideas that I could help you with? He heard me on a podcast. I'm talking about music. I'm like, investors don't help rappers. You know what I mean? Like, shoot, you know what I mean? Like, don't waste my time. He's like, do you have any other ideas out there? So I just like lobbed this thinking this will scare him off, you know? He's like, yo, you gotta do this ASAP. This was like, you know, Pokémon was going crazy. Flesh and Blood just came out, like all these different things. He was like, you gotta do this ASAP. So fast forward, we get into Techstars, the music accelerator program. Warner Music and Concord Music's an early investor of us. At the time, we spent 18 months focusing on the digital side. At the time, it was going to be a mobile-first game. But I was at DreamCon in July with a couple of my other team members, and we're playing the demo version of this physically. And I mean, just like kind of how now today when I'm playing the physical version, I lost my voice there too, playing for hours on end. People wouldn't get up. People was inviting their friends. Yo, you got to play this, da-da-da-da. And it was just wild. My homies is going out to get me food, get me water. I'm just over here, right? And it was like, yo, if you had this available to order, I'd buy this right now. I buy all of them. I bring it to the Airbnb. We run it up, da-da-da. So I'm hearing that. I'm like, all right, if that's true, because now I'm doing this full time. I don't got the Google money and the free big tech food. Like, this is really what I'm doing for my livelihood, you know? So it's like, I bet if this is true, let's figure it out. So we did a pre-order campaign in September, sold out of that in less than a month, and it was like, okay, this is real, right? So MAGFest is actually the first time where, we have inventory and we have all the stuff now. We got the little cart where we come out with the cards to go play. And several people actually in this room, I recognize y'all, I remember y'all name. Y'all have played with me this week. And I'm curious, just by the way, we freestyle. I hope y'all okay with that. I'm a rapper, we improvising. But I would really love, like, just the folks that played, if y'all could just share with folks here, like, what was it like playing 5 mics?
It was so much fucking fun.
I just played with him.
I said, like, real talk, like, that's like my first
like 1 in the morning. Like,
Oh, so you're the reason he didn't show up last night. I getting the text.
Sorry, did I say us?
Oh, okay. The disassociation so easily.
My wife was like, "You are still up?" I was like, "Babe, I'm promised. I'm still playing for my." Yeah, so it's just a glimpse, y'all. We could go. How I switch slides? Boom. So 5 mics is a hip hop trading card game. It's meant to be fast. There's 12 rounds max. Most games last between 4 to 6 rounds. Think like battle rapping. Think like boxing. You know, the goal is that you could play this within 10 to 15 minutes, have an exhilarating, adrenaline-filled moment, and then, you know, it's up to you if you want to keep going or not. Most people want to keep going, right? But as far as like the flavor, you know, usually what I say is like it's like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, but with rappers instead of dragons, right? Now, I built this for people that's never played a trading card game before with the depth of trading card games, right? And so like JK was saying, I never touched trading card games before in my life. That's perfect. I literally, like, you are my target audience, right? But simultaneously, you know, yesterday I was playing with a guy named Mason, you know, Magic the Gathering, professional, top 8s, wins, all that kind of stuff, sits down. With people like that, I don't even tell them the rules. I'm just like, all right, just pick up cards and we'll just learn by going, because it's that quick to pick up. It's that easy to learn. And so if you do have TCG experience, right, you're like, oh, bet, that's, you know, that kind of reminds me of Trample. That reminds me of Millen. That reminds me of da-da-da-da, right? It has these little pieces and flavors, but it really, I would say, by and large, it feels like a hip-hop trading card game. In fact, I got 2 decks right here. Wolf, if you could help me just grab these, and then, you know, one could go to the left, one could go to the right. The ones in the red sleeves, that's the hardcore style. And the ones in the green, that's the chill style. But it really feels like hip hop. For example, every card got a style, and there's 5 styles in this game, right? You got chill, party, hardcore, emo, and conscious. And there's a card in the decks that are passing around right now that shows you the style wheel. So they actually have a relationship with one another. The styles that are side by side have the most synergy with each other. And it's just like hip hop, right? Like you can imagine a chill party song. You can imagine a party hardcore song. You can imagine a emo conscious song or a conscious chill song, right? And then the ones that are directly opposite of each other, chill and hardcore, or emo chill, or party conscious, those are actually like both in the game, like mechanically opposed to one another, but also stylistically, right? It's like a party conscious song, right? Like maybe Kendrick Lamar is the exception, right? But he's definitely not the rule. You know what I mean? It's like these, right? It's like they don't quite go well with each other, right? And so just even thinking about the mechanics of the game, you have chill, which is all about peaceful long life. It's healing. It's more defense. Conscious is about strength and community. So, you know, you get stronger with the more artists you have on stage. Party is all about blowing money fast, showing off, being in the VIP section, just doing direct damage to you out without even having a battle. You know what I mean? Hardcore is absolute aggression, so it got trap cards in there because, you know, there's trap music, it's gangsters, hardcore, right? And so it got traps in the starter deck like Caught Slippin' or Warning. In the expansion set that we're gonna drop in a few months, you got Hit a Lick or Kick Down the Door, you know what I mean? Chill got items like Pet Roach or Lowrider, you know what I mean? It got an event card called I Got 5 on it, and if you got 5 artists, it's free to play. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe of the game. And so whether you like hip hop or not, like we've had people that sat down, you know, their top genres is rock and bluegrass or whatever, they still can have a good time. And then if you do love hip hop, right, you'll appreciate just that extra bit of lore, that extra, you know, you might look at an artist and be like, oh, that remind me of J. Cole or some mix of like Glorilla and da-da-da-da. And, you know, these are fictional characters. We want to build our own Miles Moraleses, our own Pikachus and things like that. So we're not ripping off like other artists. Like I mentioned, Warner Music is an early investor of us. We're talking to real artists. I was talking to an artist that's on Dr. Dre's label. He never played TCGs before. We're running it up. He's addicted, and he's like, yo, I want to be in this game. And it's like, that's a very plausible thing to do, right? And so I want to build a multiverse where you got real artists and art artists, and you're building decks. And, you know, if it's an artist that you know, it's a way to be like, you know, that extra level of fandom, like, yo, I'm gonna run this deck with this artist that I know, right? And then on the other hand, it's like, if you don't know that artist, but the ability is dope, and you put it in the deck, it's also a form of artist discovery. It's like, oh, snap, that's a real artist, let me check out their music. Oh, it's dope, you know what I mean? But the fact that we're building our own foundation with it, it's in a way, I mean, y'all know how hip hop is. Y'all know how much drama there is. It'd be like you put your whole livelihood on a human being, and then they show up with baby oil, and your whole thing is messed up. And it's like, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been up since 2 a.m. with these guys. So I can't.
Some decorum in the forum, please.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You can't just build. You can't build. You know what you doing on stuff like that, right? There's always something there, but you could be adjacent. You could, you know, make a, you know, how Andre 3K dropped a flute album, right? You could put an item in the game that's that flute, you know what I mean? And if you know, you know. You don't gotta be involved with the culture to know, but it just adds that extra layer, right? And our characters have their own lore, so I could slide through. This is what the decks look like. So for example, Stone Hot Andretti, he's our chill artist. He's our main artist that kind of represents chill. He's just laid back. He's cool. He just makes those earworm catchy hooks that you just vibe with. You know, he's not trying to have drama. He could give it to you if necessary, but like he's not really about it. You know what I mean? He's just trying to vibe. And then you got Pretty Millie. Oh, his superpower is smoke manipulation. He could just make smoke out of thin air. You know, he's just laying on his personal cloud. Then you got Pretty Millie, who is a social media influencer, got famous, you know, on the social media of her time and got signed immediately. You know, people call her an industry plant. She just call him broken, mad, and dusty. You know what I mean? But she gets stronger when more people are with her. You know, she's actually very insecure. And so one of her ability in the game is that she gets +1 attack when you have, and she can fly when you have at least 3 friendly party artists on stage, right? And so, you know, we add the lore to match the ability of what it is that she actually can do, and her ability is visible light manipulation. So she can make herself fly, she can make herself look larger than life, she can also make herself disappear. You got Big Hot Girl, no relationship to Meg Thee Stallion. And you know, she's just aggressive, she's from the streets. Imagine like early 50 Cent, you know what I mean? Just trying to make it out by any means. You know, she has the ability to create fire. Her ability is really crazy. A lot of people that's played hardcore in this room would attest. She could just out of nowhere destroy any and everything that's on stage that's basically weaker than her. She's very domineering. But she actually has like a soft side of her. You know, she's a nerd. She likes games and stuff, but she can't say that in the hood. You know what I mean? She gotta be real tough. She gotta toughen up. And if you test her, you will pay for it. Then you got Sha Kim. They're actually in the same community, grew up in the same community as Black Chaz and as Big Hot Girl. The 3 of them took a different route. We'll talk about Black Chaz later. Big Hot Girl, yo, I gotta get it by any means. You know, very vigilante, stay out of my way. I might cross your path, but you gonna make sure you don't cross mine. Sha Kim, you know, they saw a lot of death in their life and really internalized it. That's why their superpower is darkness manipulation. They can make it feel like you're having a panic attack. You know what I mean? Just like the darkness is just around you and you just choke to death out of the dark. They're not doing nothing. Which is why their ability, they can't even attack when they hit the stage. But they could KO one of their own friendly emo artists and do damage based off of the cost of what that artist was. Which actually gets really heady. And when we talk to people that's never played a trading card game before, I typically have them avoid emo because it gets real heady, real, you know, I gotta do this, then I touch this, and da-da-da. It's a lot of thinking. It's like, but for people that come from that world, they're like, oh my God, sign me up. Yeah, I see Mike. Mike loved it. He ran it up. He was like, oh, I bet, I need that. But that's the fun of Sha Kim. And then you got Black Chaz, right? Same community, took a different approach. Community ambassador. I ain't trying to show up to the Grammys. I'd rather be the people's champ. You know, F the police, I'm here to protect my block, all that kind of stuff, right? And so what's really dope about him is that his superpower is earth mineral manipulation. So he could, you know, create tools out of the earth. He can create a wall. He can do all those things. He could technically create diamonds, but because he does not believe in wearing diamonds to showcase any sense of value or self-worth, he chooses not to, right? And so that's just a little glimpse of the type of world that we're building in the universe that we're creating, you know what I mean? And yeah, like I mentioned, the community is growing. So after October, when I was like, man, more people ordered than the inventory that we got available. We got to figure this out. You know, found a really dope manufacturing company that makes moves as fast as we need. We re-upped our inventory. And, you know, we're based in LA, so we've been doing a whole bunch of game nights, which has been really dope. And then just by word of mouth, by showing up to stuff like this, we've been having people order from literally all around the world, whether it's New York or Colorado or even Germany and Poland, right? But I'm not relying on, a big name brand behind me. I'm not relying on a big artist behind me or whatever. I'm really just relying on the fact that this game is fun. If this game is fun, everything else is dope. But if this game is not fun, none of the stuff that I told you about the future, want to build the Pokemon of hip hop and we can expand to this and that, If the game's not fun, none of that matters, right? I can't mask it behind like, oh, this is a popular anime, or oh, this is the artist that right? Like, is the game fun, right? And so like y'all, heard earlier, right? Like, people enjoy it. People will play for as long as they want, you know what I mean? So that's a quick bit about me, what I'm doing, where we're at. It's been really fun, and it keeps getting fun. I ain't trying to go back to a corporate job, so it's been really dope.
So, shameless plug. This talk is sponsored by Mages. Mages. No, let me stop. But no, seriously. So, the Music and Gaming Education Symposium, which this talk is housed under, now has a Discord. So, by all means, if you are interested in maybe doing one of these kinds of panels, if you're interested in just learning more about what's going on in your community, academic-wise, gaming-wise. I am a video game researcher, so I do both at the same time. By all means, this is your way to basically be in community with other gamey, geeky, academically but not exclusively inclined folks as well. All right? But now we'll just switch to Q&A. But I have a couple of questions my own self for Ace, but I'll be brief, I promise. All right. So by all means, I'll keep this up here as we chat, and then I'll switch it over to Q&A. Does that sound fair to everyone? All right. Fantastic. So first of all, Ace, amazing. Like I was up here smiling the entire time because I'm not going to hold you. Yu-Gi-Oh was it for me, and as I was telling you, I look, middle school, man, that was a different kind of Javon.
He was anteing up, stealing people good cards.
We played
paying for his lunch.
In my school, we called it ante, and so it's just like, all right, you put up your card, and then you put up a card that I want, and then same thing, and then that's how you dueled. And I was able to take on a couple of good things, but then I got into a league I was just not prepared for, which was money. And let's just say I went home starving a few times. I was like, I got to change my life around. I can't. This is
scratching.
This is unsustainable. My mom won't be proud of me, right? But that was it for me, right? Because for me, sometimes the barrier is the level of like complexity, right? This does this. All right, now you got to roll this die, this and that and the third, right? Yu-Gi-Oh is a great example for me. Like for me, up to like Yu-Gi-Oh GX, that was my shit. Okay, Duelist Academy, we in there. Now where it's at? No, you need a PhD to play Yu-Gi-Oh now, and I'm working on one in real life. I don't need a game to represent that. Right. So for you, how did you think about like the kinds of traits that you wanted per card? How did you think about the interconnected system, right? You said all these things are connected to different kinds of styles, are interwoven. But how did you choose those styles in particular? I mean, because you could have chose a whole gamut of things related to music. So how did you choose what you got to now?
Well, I mean, as far as like the theme itself, hip hop, I just genuinely love hip hop. I've been making hip hop music for a long time. Just been in the culture ever since I've been alive. So, that was wildly the easy part, right? Like the hard part was making trading card games simple and deep at the same time. I think that was the hardest part. So, I think the decks is still out there, right? Like if y'all look, or if you haven't looked, definitely check it out. But like you'll notice the text is real short. At max, you'll have 3 lines on a card. Like I mentioned, we're
Yu-Gi-Oh could never. I'm just saying.
I just if you need glasses to read the cards, like I don't want you to have that. And that was, like I'm okay with that, but like people that I was hanging out with, right, just wasn't okay with that. That would be one of the complaints, and right, so I'm just listening to that. So it's like, I bet, well, not that I don't want nobody to read. You should read. The reading comprehension is still a thing. you still got to know what's going on. I forgot who we was playing with, but she was like, man, I didn't read it. I was like, you didn't read? Can you read? It was just messing with it. It was like 3 lines. It was like draw a card. You know, it was just like, you didn't read that? But, you know, the numbers is simple. The text is simple. You know, that went through just iterations, just constantly just thinking about, and, you know, being a lyricist, right, you're wordsmithing. It's like, how can I make this as simple yet as understandable as possible, right? I do think that calling it hip hop does help me cheat a little bit. Like, I get to say op instead of opponent. You know what I mean? That saved me some letters. You know what I mean? That saved me some letters. And so, but as far as like what, can I be nerdy with y'all for like a little bit? Y'all can choose to keep up if you want to. I'm gonna go in, I bet. So, the way that you win in this game, you got 30 cards, right? Each player got 30 cards. 15 of them are artists and 15 of them are non-artists, so either items or events. There's 3 types of cards in our game, right? Artists, items, and events. So you got 30 cards. What's your name? Jaden. Let's say Jaden attacks me, does 2 direct damage to me. I take 2 cards from the top of my deck and I put them into my dirt, right? Dirt is what we call graveyard, discard pile, whatever you want to call it, right? So I put 2 cards into my dirt. So now that's how I take damage. So now if my deck is at 0, I'm not dead, I'm in the danger zone, right? Imagine like that finish him moment in Mortal Kombat. Jaden got to do 1 more point of damage to me in order for me to actually lose, right? And even that part of like making sure that decking out didn't feel too bad was like a aha, right? Because in most trading card games, when you do mill yourself out or you deck out or whatever, it's like an instant loss. It's an automatic loss. And if you're going to have your life be your health and all of a sudden you just automatically lost, like what if you draw yourself to death? Now that feels painful, right? And you don't want people to feel pain like that. You do want to feel pain if like Jaden attacks me for 11. It's just like, yo, he just haymakered me, right? That's the gaming kind of pain you want to feel, you know? But like that kind of like decking outfit, you don't want that, right? And so creating this rule where it's like that finish him moment actually became joyful. Then you actually were okay with decking out. You were okay with like, okay, if I have to draw 2 and I only have 1, then I just draw 1 and that's just that, right? Then it created this opportunity to be like, okay, well, then if I deck out, how can I get more, right? And so that's where heal came in, where it's like, all right, well, then you just take cards and you put them into the deck. It's like, well, am I just going to choose any card? No, you're going to choose the bottom card. You can't decide what card it is. You're going to choose the bottom card. Okay, that sounds fair, right? What are other ways to like prevent the deck from being, you know, just the ultimate kill? Okay, what if you can prevent the amount of damage that gets taken, right? So if Jaden attacks me for 5, but I can somehow cut 4 of that out and only take 1, oh, that sounds dope. And what if I can stack them? Okay, that sounds interesting. So that's where cut came from, right? And so then it was like, okay, where do you want to put them? And so it was like, okay, maybe this mechanic can live over here, that mechanic live over here, because you don't want one mechanic to have all the things, because then it's going to feel imbalanced. You want everyone to have a thing. Okay, cool. So now this one has the what we're going to call heal. This one has what we're going to call cut. All right, that sounds really defensive. What if like I'm not trying to live long, I'm just trying to end this. All right, you need something that could just beat somebody down, right? We're gonna just call that like the beat down thing, whatever, right? All right, what if you don't want to battle? Like there's a mechanic, like, you know, you battled in order to deal damage. All right, one artist battles 1, or you can jump in this game where, you know, you jump, you tag team, you gang up, you jump. Like jump is jump. I don't know. I honestly, I explain it and I feel like I'm explaining something that's already explained, which is like cool. Right, but you jump, and so it's like, all right, cool, you jump, but what if you don't want to battle? What if you just, right, so what if there's something where you can get over the battle? Oh, we could call it fly. Oh, flying is a thing that's in Magic, but also being fly in hip-hop is a thing. Okay, we're just going to call fly, because if you play trading card games, you're going to understand fly, but if you understand hip-hop, you're also going to understand fly. All right, cool. So then it was like, there's some things that I have names for, there's some things I don't have names for. I'm trying to keep them short, trying to make it make sense, trying to make it feel like hip-hop, and that's where like just the artistry came in, right? And then just making them live in their own different places, and then it was like, all right, we got all these mechanics here and here, what does this feel like? And I'm going through like 2 years of iteration, right? I didn't just wake up and all this happened, but it's like, oh, this could be called chill. Oh, this could be called hardcore. That makes sense. Ooh, hardcore could have traps. At the time, traps were somewhere else, and it's like, nah, it makes sense that hardcore would have traps because there's trap music and hip hop, and that's more than the game. So it had to be thematic all of a sudden. It was like, all right, bet that can live here. This is the crazy disruptive one. We're just gonna call this emo. And then it was like, okay, well then party is really against conscious and emo. Like I was trying to make it make sense in a way, but then it just somehow clicked. It was like, oh snap, it works that way. Like the what we called it and how the mechanics work are now synergistic in a way that just made sense. And so once that locked down, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I'm gonna leave this job at some point. Like this is it. And I'm playing it with other people, and it just started to click. And the final point that I'll say, because I know I'm answering your one question like as a 10-minute monologue, is it don't really matter what I think. Like I just brought y'all into my mind and thinking about da-da-da-da. If you felt that while playing and I didn't have to tell you all of that, that's actually the win. You know, you can think all these things and that sound cool, da-da-da-da, but if I'm playing with, Yellow Blade and he's like, yo, this is whack, this don't make no sense, then all that was for nothing, right? And so the real victory, if you want to call it that, was just displaying what this thought process was to people, and people just saying, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that feels right. Oh, that instantly gets it. I've heard people say this feels like Yu-Gi-Oh, but balanced. And I'm like, that's a dope compliment, you know?
I mean,
I'm not, right? I'm not, they say it, not me. I'm not trying to compete against nobody else. I'm really trying to compete with myself, right? Like at the end of the day, you have people, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I need somebody's validation in order to make this like a credible thing, Like I never worked in the gaming industry before, but by virtue of me doing this, now I'm in the gaming industry, and people treat me like I've been in the gaming industry for years, and it feels that way. But at the same time, it's not something I didn't no one knighted me, you are now in it, if anything, more people were like, you can't do that because you're not in the gaming industry. But it was the same thing with music, you know what I mean? Like I told y'all, I had a corporate job and I'm doing this music thing. I mean, back when I was in Columbia University, I was opening up for Snoop Dogg. I was a musician, that's all people knew me for. But then, I had a life change and da-da-da. So I was getting back into music when I was in these corporate worlds. And so, for people to meet me as this white collar worker, and then on the low, I'm like, yo, I'm a rapper. He's like, everybody a rapper, stop it, da-da-da, you know what I mean? And then you do things, and you keep doing things, and you keep doing things, and then you get these, these accolades and trinkets and da-da-da-da, and then people are like, yo, can you help me break into the music industry? It's like, yo, I just did it. I just did it, right? And so that's how I feel about this. It's like, yo, I just did it, and with y'all, I'm doing it with y'all. Like, it's a service, really. Like, if y'all don't like it, it don't make no sense. So the fact that people are liking it, right, that's how I know I've hit it. And it doesn't mean that I'm done. You keep iterating and growing, but now I know, we've reached a dope spot. Okay.
Well, thank you for the TED Talk.
Right.
Again, Brother Ace. All right, so we'll switch into Q&A. So whoever, Ace, you...
All right. Jada.
I play a lot of Magic. How quick do you say before you get the rounds out of this? Because sometimes Magic is I've played games that have been 20 minutes and you just get wrecked, and other games where everyone's moving matches for 2 hours. So you play this till 1 in the morning. How long were those sessions?
How long were those sessions?
Not very long. But the longest game I had where it was really back and forth, stalemate, really close. At most,
Yeah. 5 to 15 minutes. Like I said, there's 12 rounds max, and most matches last between 4 to 6 rounds.
How many players can play at once?
So we've built it for 1v1, but you could do 1v1v1, 2v2, however you want to, you know what I mean? That part right there, that last question, is really for the community to decide. You know what I mean? And I think that's the beautiful part, just seeing people be like, yo, I got a deck, y'all got a deck, let's just run it, let's just see what happens, But it's quick enough to do that.
What's your next plan for 5 months? You guys a trading card game now, but what do you see expanding on a trading card game? Do you see doing tie-ins? What do you see yourself doing next for 5 months? You got characters, you got backstory, what do you see yourself doing?
Nah, I appreciate that. So for sure on the physical side, so we have the full 180 cards for set 1, which is called the Genesis. We have it available. We're actually designing the box and the packs and all that stuff as we speak, and getting that produced. So what I've learned is that it takes about 90 to 120 days to have stuff like produced, packed, and shipped from Hong Kong to LA. Fortunately, I'm in LA, so I don't got to take an extra few days after that, but just to get it boxed up and everything. So that's the most immediate thing. And I have we have the next like few sets already planned out after that. So that's on the physical side. We're also still building the digital side. Appreciate y'all. We're also still building the digital side, so having a digital client is also important. But, we're building IP. And so, I want to build the Pokemon of hip-hop, the Marvel universe of hip-hop. And so, like, these characters, for example, they can exist in a fighting game. They can exist in a puzzle game or RPG game or whatever. There's this studio that came up to me because they saw our work and they're like, yo, I really love the artwork, I love the IP. Like, they're coming from Disney and Pixar and they're like, we can turn this into, some limited series shows, we can do this a movie. And I'm like, yes and, right? And then some, you know what I mean? Festivals, tournaments, like different ways, for artists, right? Like doing competitions for you to be in the game as a card and, all these kind of things. But I say all that as like the dreaming visionary CEO, and then I reel it back in as like, yo, if the game is fun, like all of that will come to fruition, you know what I mean? And so all that stuff is very much on the roadmap. But even still, like, there's been a few people just over this week that have come up with really dope ideas, just like, yo, that'd be cool too. You know what I mean? Like, how can we make that happen? So that's how I'd answer that. Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason that it's happened is because they've released so many different sets.
Totally.
And these synergies they couldn't have thought about at the beginning.
Right.
And I call that power creep, where stuff gets more complex and stronger over time as you add more onto it, right?
Yeah.
Like a Dragon Ball character, like you have to start going crazy towards the end.
I know.
Do you have you thought about how to address something like that?
Yeah. In three ways. So, I would say like just even like what a privilege it would be to be 30 years in the game and just have issues of like when I was 3 years old, I had no idea this would be the thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, so like, the artists have an attack and a defense, right? And so anytime you're like, ooh, I need the one cost artist to have an attack of 12, it's like, all right, we gotta relax, right? And so, I have this Excel spreadsheet that balances the metrics, and you're looking at like the combination of the rarity and the cost and everything like that. What is the ability? And then like, okay, if that's the ability, like you gotta take some off or da-da-da-da. That's one. Number two, never losing sight of who our target audience is, right? Like, honestly, it's the BIPOC female. That's actually who our target audience is, who's never played a trading card game before. If she feels included, then everyone feels included, right? And so that being said, it's like, okay, does she understand what's going on? And as soon as she don't understand what's going on, it's like, all right, we gotta reel it back, right? Like, I'm not building, and there's certain games, right? I'm building for the competitive landscape and da-da-da-da, and that's dope, that's cool, I'm there, you know what I mean? But that's not what we're building. And so if this game goes into like a casual feel, like for example, the starter decks, if you was to purchase the starter decks, you could play that game as is, you wouldn't need to add on any cards, and you could still have hours and hours of fun. I personally have played hundreds, not just to test, but because I low-key got addicted to my own game. I got high on my own supply, you know what I mean? So it's like, but it's sufficient in itself, right? There's this wife and husband couple that came, they bought 3, and then the next day they bought the last 2, and they're like, yo, next Sunday we're gonna have a game night with some friends, we can't wait to teach them, and da-da-da-da, and it's self-sustaining in that sense, right? And then if you want more, if you're like, man, I've gotten a lot and I want more, right? Like, that's the natural progression we all had, right? It's like, I want more. It's like, what? I could update the deck by adding this card and it does that, and you understand what that actually means, then it's a cool thing. And so I want to keep that like transition always there. It doesn't mean that cards can't come. I think cards can get complex in that way, but in a way that makes sense. I think right now for a lot of these games that you mentioned, it's like you buy the starter deck and you're already up here. It's like, you didn't give me the ramp. Like, I left Magic for 10 years. I come back. It's like, bro, I need a guide. I need a tutor. You know what I mean? And so I think keeping that approach, remembering who your target audience is, always checking in, making sure like we're all going up together. It doesn't mean you can't go up. And then, keeping the checks and balances, making sure your cards aren't just like generically overpowered. And then listening to the community. There was a card we was iterating on. There was like, yo, this one, you need to do something with this one. And a lot of people said it. When you hear that, it's like, all right, you gotta listen. Yeah, and then we'll go right over.
Either your favorite or the most famous person that you played the game with, or if not, who do you want to play the game?
I think the coolest one was literally yesterday, playing with the professional Magic player. Or no, there was that YouTube streamer too yesterday. That was cool too. Yeah, they was both cool. They was all cool. Everybody's cool, man. There was one person, you might not call her famous, but she showed up in an outfit. There's an artist called Gorilla P in our hardcore deck. She got purple braids. She got a white mink coat, like a cool outfit or whatever. And this person that came in, she's never played trading card games before, by the way, came in and had that like purple braids and a white mink coat and the whole outfit. And so she saw that card. She was like, yo, that's me. To me, that was fame. I was like, Gorilla P, what's good? Oh, snap. Oh, snap. That was cool to me, man. I've heard people say they want to cosplay our characters and stuff. I think that's cool, man. I don't know, coming from the music industry, I think fame is weird. I think, if you're a dope human being, that's all that matters to me. So, yeah, I play with people with status, and that's cool. Some people, I ain't gonna say his name, but I ran up to a really famous person at the South by that we was at, a hip hop artist, and I was like, this is when I was in like target audience testing phase, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, famous hip hop artist, check, I'm doing this thing, it's a hip hop trading card game. He's like, what is that? I was like, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh, but rappers instead of drag. He was like, Yu-Gi-Oh? I was like, okay. I'm gonna stop. This isn't worth the engagement, right? Just because you're famous don't mean they're gonna automatically get it, right? So yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in North Carolina.
Where in North Carolina?
It's like Wilmington is about an hour from Raleigh down.
Okay.
Near like the closest station, like
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a few people that bought in Raleigh, so that's why I was asking. Yeah.
I was like, I do have a few friends in Raleigh, like I was about to, I guess.
Yeah.
I wanted to try them, but I was looking online because I didn't understand like how you buy them. Like I don't know, like if you do like one card at a time or like.
So you can get a deck, right? And so one deck is like for one person, and there's the starter decks are themed by the style, right? So this would be a chill starter deck, and it would have all the cards that you would need to just play the chill starter deck. And then there's, so you would have one, and then I would have one, and then together we would be able to play. So for two people, you would need two decks. Yeah. Nah, I got you. Not yet. Oh man, it's a story. Let me tell you. So, so for 18 months, from January 2023 until August 2024, we was head first. We was mobile first, trading card game. I built the game for physical in mind, but I was like, that's somewhere distant future in the world on the roadmap, But we was just focused on digital. The person I was working with at the time, I didn't know how to code at the time, and this person told me they knew how to code, and so we were coding, and then I found out right when we were supposed to push the button that everything that he coded actually doesn't work, and so it was this really sad time. Really sad time. I then, in August, I was born August 15th. In that month, it was like a couple days after DreamCon, I taught myself how to code so that I could rebuild everything, at least the infrastructure of everything. And my team is different now, and we're building in a way that like actually makes sense. And I was running with the feedback that I got from DreamCon saying, yo, physical is like ready to go. If you literally just put it on a website, we would buy it, And so that was happening at the same exact time. August was like a metamorphosis. It was like, I'm rising from the ashes of the flames. You know what I mean? Because like by the end of August, it's like, okay, cool. Like I'm C# certified. I can build, I can read the stuff. It's understanding. It's still being built, but of course it's like, you know, a wildfire just took away all the stuff. Like it's gonna take time, you know what I mean? So we still have the assets, which is why we still showcase them on the website, because they're still very much there and very much in our heart. But the physical took a very swift turn by the end of August, where we're now a physical first game. The digital is still very much there, like I said, in our hearts, and is being built. But immediately in September is when we did the pre-order campaign. It was like, all right, this is moving a lot faster. So that's why you see the two. Yeah.
No question. Just saying, keep going, bro. You got this.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And then you.
Played trading card games in like 20 years because I tried to get back to Yu-Gi-Oh! So I was curious, do you have any ideas for like future decks, like future styles, maybe more ideas of cards in your head, or?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I got the next 3 sets already drafted and half iterated, which is fun. You know, things like dual style artists, all style artists, the ability to cross over your styles. So, you know, all your cards in your deck, if they're either a hardcore style or party style, they're effectively the same style. So now you can equip party items onto hardcore artists and stuff like that. That's just a quick glimpse of stuff that's been swirling in my mind related to that question. Yeah. Yep.
Given that you're a hip-hop artist, are you gonna have any music that will bring awareness to the trading card game?
That I've made?
Or do you plan to make any music that may help bring awareness to the trading card game?
You know what's funny? I was actually having a conversation with GXG Wolf about this yesterday, who's back there right now. And, you know, he was like, yo, like, I really love this game. Like, we could make songs about it and da-da-da-da. And it's like, yeah, let's do it. That'd be dope. That'd be dope. Me personally, like, I think it's interesting, right? Like, me as an artist, a lot of the art. So first of all, I was doing music while I had a full-time job, right? And so I was never in a position where it was like, you know, I had to depend on this in order to do it. I always did it because I wanted to, right? Which is cool because I got to do a lot of dope stuff because I really wanted it to. It was also like cathartic and like, man, I gotta express myself because these people is trying me today. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so doing 5 mics full time, like right now I have 2 albums that I'm just sitting on, but I don't have that desire to push it as much as I have the desire to create a foundation where I can create cards that represent other real artists and create an opportunity for rev share and, you know, give them new opportunities for merch and stuff like that. Like that to me gets me so much more excited than like pushing my own music personally, right? Like my music's still there. I don't know what the streams are. I don't care no more. You know what I mean? Like I'm way more passionate about this. That being said, I wrote music on my way here and I'm still doing music. I can't let it go. But yeah, I guess that's my way of answering the question is it's not a no. It's just like a, hey man, just like Wolf was saying yesterday, yo, I'm passionate about doing it. I'm down to collab and make stuff happen, you know what I mean, and support other artists in the process.
This isn't really a question suggestion, but since you have, I really like characters. If you haven't tell, since you have the characters, it'd be cool if each character had their own theme song. I really like that.
Yes.
Each character had a song they made.
Yeah, so some to that, I love that you said that, and a few people have said this to me before, and I it has to happen. Like, you know, when people, like, you just keep hearing it, like, it has to happen, right? Because the same people I was telling you, they work at, you know, ex-Pixar, ex-Disney people, whatever, they were like, yo, not only can we create these characters, but we can create these characters in such a way where they can have a life of their own. They have their own social media profiles. They have their own da-da-da-da. And these are real, if you want to create your own IP, like, imagine if, like, Miles Morales was really out here, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. So it's like, you know, if Pretty Millie just dropped a new song and it's like, yo, I actually love her music, right? Like this actual like sense of, oh snap, like if she's the party artist and this is the kind of music she makes, and whether it's like ghost written by another artist or it's an artist that you know that's like doing the music or whatever the case, Yeah, exactly, right? Like that would be, and so, you're not the first, but you're definitely the tipping hat where it's like, yo, here right now, like we gotta make that happen, for sure. Yeah, both, we go, yeah, okay, and then you.
There are these other pillars of hip hop, DJ, breaking, beatboxing. Do you see space for those in 5 nights, or do you think that's the second?
No, totally. We got an artist called DJ Bagtugs. Like whether it's dance, DJing, break dance, and all of that, like that's all art. That's all in hip hop culture. You know what I mean? So like, this isn't the rapper card game. So right. And on top of now, right? Like it's to answer your question, right? It's everything. So we got dancers, we got DJs, we got all of that. And what's cool about hip hop too, man, is like, hip hop was born off of sampling other genres. And so if we had, a rock artist or something like that in the game, and we had this, like, the set was about like this fusion of different, like, it would actually make sense. You know what I mean? Like, there's Latin trap, there's UK grime, there's Afro beats, even K-pop has rap elements. Like, the ability to actually incorporate the world in this game in a way that's actually authentic is what keeps me up at night. So yes, all of it.
I apologize if you said this earlier.
All good, don't apologize.
Why 5 months? Why that title? And also, why is it a reason why you passed the 65?
Yeah, so I love that. So in the
Planned. This was planned.
yeah,
Again, department head status. I want 5 mics on 5 mics panel.
all right, that's a bar. In the game, you can only have 5 artists on stage at a time. So 5 mics, 5 artists. There's a lot of 5s in the game. There's 5 bags when you start. You start with 5 cars. There's 5 artists in the front stage, 5 artists in the backstage. Also, 5 mics is a nod to the way that really dope hip hop albums were rated back in the day. So it's a nod to that. It's cultural. It's mechanic. It's a microcosm for how the entire game acts and plays.
So with cards like, the games like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokémon, all that stuff, yes, technically you can buy a pre-made deck and then start playing right away, but to get like actual, like, quote unquote good idea, you have to buy the blind pack. And when you were talking about expansions for the game, are you planning on doing like, would I know when I buy the expansion the exact cards that I would get maybe add to the deck, or are you planning on doing like blind packs as well?
What are blind packs? Oh, yeah.
That's like, it's gonna be like random cards.
Both. Like having having new starter decks again. So right, like I'm thinking about how can I make it as accessible to just pick up and play, right? If you're trying to play like this is fun to play casually, right? And so if you're just trying to play casually with the decks and I'm not trying to go and think about upgrading and adding and customizing, I'm just trying to have something fun and quick to play with the homies while I'm at the party or whatever the case may be, the decks are where it's at, right? And then, like there's a point when you're playing where you're like, ooh, there's more, right? Like there's a card that is not in the starter deck, but for those that have played the chill deck would understand, right? There's a card called Today is a Good Day, shout out to Ice Cube, where you heal 1 for every card in your hands, right? And if the max hand limit is 10, you would heal 9. That's ridiculous. That's off of 1 card, right? And so you don't need that card in the starter deck in order to have a good time and play. But if you're all of a sudden like trying to be, the one with the best deck and stuff like that, you might want that card in your chill deck or whatever the case, right? And so you don't need those, but it's there for people that want it. And I think what's fun about just 5 mics is there's space for everybody. Especially it's actually funny, the ones that are coming in with no TCG experience getting hyper competitive, right? Like because it's that easy to pick up and understand, and it's so fast. It's more like a fighting game. You know what I mean? Like it's boom, 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 boom. If you don't play an artist on stage, it's like not blocking in Mortal Kombat. Like, and I'm just wounding up for my finisher, right? Like it's a big deal. So like every round means something you're doing, but it's simple math. It's simple like computing, and so you're just like, let's go again. I want it this style. I'm gonna do it, right? And so I feel like it just naturally leads to that space. But we'll always have starter decks to just, again, ease people in and make it easier for people to just pick up and play.
So we're almost out of time, so we'll take one more question. But Ace will be available like after this. He's under contract. So,
I am.
I'm like, no bullshit, like he is. I sent it.
Yo, you really have me sign a contract? I was like, bro, yo, trust me.
I sent it earlier this week. Sign this now. So we'll take.
I was like, all these years is the first time I signed a contract.
So we'll
I'm
take
coming.
One more question in this official capacity, but we'll be outside and he'll be available to take all your questions.
Yeah.
So anyone else have one more? Yes.
What's my favorite deck to play? I actually really love the chill deck. And when I start, especially for people that have never played trading card games before, I have them play hardcore and I play chill, and it's usually an easy way to ramp up and just understand the core mechanics of the game. That being said, chill is really strong, and you, for those that have played the game, right? And if you do want to play the game, I do have demos. We could go play it later. That hardcore chill match might look a little lopsided, right? Because hardcore is super aggressive and just kind of steamrolls, but chill is actually really, really strong. And I've been cosplaying Stone Hot and Andretti, clearly, like all conference. It can make a lot of decks upset. Like I said, like that today is a good day card, and like all other kind of chill cards are kind of a nuisance when you're trying to end the game and they just keep, it's like Piccolo or Wolverine, right? It's like, why won't they just die, right? Like that is chill in a nutshell. And I feel like that's really, I guess the last thing that I'll say is like, I really feel like you really have to persevere as an artist, as an innovator, as a founder or whatever. And I just feel like, you know, you get so many highs and lows in life, and sometimes you do want to give up, but that ability to just, yo, man, I'm still here. I'm better than ever. I'm still alive. What happened? You know, here I am, no scratch on me, right? Like that kind of attitude is what I want to embody in life. So chill.
Well, thank you again for accepting my call.
Easily.
and being here. So I'm super excited because I told you that you have a whole group of people waiting to hear this, and they're here, right? And there are other
I appreciate y'all, for real. From the bottom of my heart.
Let's give one gigantic applause for the Ace Patterson.